friends, 2 time zones, and a shared love of stories.
I'm Freya.
And I'm Jamie.
Bridging time zones 1 chapter at a time.
Welcome to Once Upon a Time Zone.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Once Upon a Time Zone. Today we have unlocked another time zone. Everyone give a big welcome to Ellen.
Hello.
Yay! If you don't know Ellen, I mean, where have you been? And you're about to unlock another incredible creator. Ellen is a fellow booktuber. I am very excited about today because I absolutely love your recommendations. I love seeing what you're reading. You read some really different books as well, which I absolutely love. But yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, so my name is Ellen. I go by Ellen Catherine as well. I am mainly a romance reader. I do a lot of reading vlogs based around romance, but I'm kind of dabbling in the romantasy at the moment. I feel like I'm in my romantasy era and I'm very much enjoying that. Also a lot of sapphic romances, that's kind of my thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm so excited about today. I'm so excited to have you on. You are our second guest, and if you've watched the podcast at all, you know that we usually start our videos with what are we currently reading? So if you don't mind, what are you currently reading?
Yeah, so I'm in romantasy era, like I said. So I'm currently reading Heir of Illusion by Madeline Taylor. I heard only wonderful things about it, and I feel like I have been sitting on it for a little while, and I finally managed to get it in one of my reading vlogs, and I'm having such a good time. I'm having such a good time with this. I feel like the last couple of books that I've read have been books that I've been really excited about and then they flopped, and so I was like, I really don't want this to join that little group of books that have flopped recently. And so far so good. I'm very much enjoying it. I'm listening to the audiobook as well as reading it, and it's so fun. It's very quintessential romantasy. It's not really breaking any boundaries, but it's one of those very entertaining fun times,
Which is sometimes very much needed.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. I feel like that's what I wanted after everything kind of flopping, because the last couple that I didn't enjoy were boggling my brain a little bit, and now I'm like, this is quite nice and calm and chill, so I'm liking it.
What is this one about? I haven't heard of it. What's the setup?
So we've got a female lead in this who's kind of indebted to the king almost. She works for the king. She's kind of his consort at the same time as being almost indebted to him as an assassin, so she goes and does assassin based things with him, but she also has a bit of a side quest that she's doing where she's also just killing people that she wants to kill at the same time. And then there's kind of the main crux of the story is her going on this, I guess, quest, expedition kind of thing to go and find this weapon. And obviously she has to team up with this shadow daddy entity guy that has snakes as his shadows and all of that sort of thing. So it's quite on the nose when it comes to the typical romantasy stuff. Yeah. But it's been so fun. It's been so fun. And there's apparently loads of plot twists. I've seen one so far and I was gagged, so I'm enjoying it.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
I love that you get so you get really deep into romantasies and romances. I feel like you read a lot that I've never heard about, which is really fun because there's always the same rotation of a lot of them going around. But you every time someone wants a romance or romantasy rec, I'm like, go to Ellen.
I will take that. I feel like I need to get back into the romances though, because it's been a hot minute. I feel like I haven't read very many recently. I recently read The Someday Garden though, the new Ashley Poston book. It's not come out yet, but I got the arc of it. So good, so good, so good. Are you Ashley Poston people? Do you like Ashley Poston? I can't remember.
Love her.
Yeah, read her books. Good. Okay, you'll like this one. If you liked The 7 Year Slip, it's giving that energy. So I love it.
Oh my gosh,
it's so good.
So yay! I feel good because I was really excited about the premise of this one with the garden. It's a kind of Secret Garden-esque.
Yeah. It's so
I'm so
good.
ready.
So good. Yeah. I think you'll love it. If you like The 7 Year Slip, I feel like that's the one it's the most comparable to out of the books that she's done, because it is very time slip kind of based. But it was so fun. It was one of those ones I feel like with Ashley Poston you sit down and you read and you've got 60% of the way through in 2 minutes. It was so addictive. It was so good.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited now. I feel like we're getting hit with a bunch of romance releases actually coming into spring for you guys and stuff. I feel like it's been really quiet for a long time, and now suddenly this month.
I think that's why I've been reading so much romantasy, because I feel like at the end of the year we had so many romantasy releases, and now maybe it's because it's spring summer releases. There are so many romance ones. I was looking at my 26 to read in 2026, which is basically just my anticipated releases for the year, and it's 90% romance now. Because there's so many coming out in the next couple of months. I can't wait.
Oh, so exciting. Jamie, what are you currently reading? I don't even know.
I know, no one knows. I'm reading The Mask Falling by Samantha Shannon. So this is the 4th book in the Bone season. It's really cool because I've always been interested in this world because it's it's set in 2050s in London. So kind of like close to you, Ellen, might hit a little hard for you.
Yeah.
And like 2050 is not that far off into the future, so it's like it could happen any day now, guys. But it's like kind of dystopian. We have clairvoyant people, so people have like mind powers. So like there's oracles, there's like ghost like spirit summoners, there's just like mind magic people, but the government is like hunting them because they see them as a threat. And so there's this like criminal syndicate that functions underground that like protect each other, and they're all clairvoyant and they hide from the government. But our protagonist gets caught in the first book. She gets thrown into jail, and then while she's in prison she just like finds out all of this stuff about the world and like all the secret stuff the government's doing. So it's really cool. And this one, the fourth book in particular, is like, it's very like undercover covert mission stuff. And like, that's always really fun to read. I know, Freya, you eat that stuff up.
I really do.
Yeah, but it's really fun. I really like it. I actually wanted to ask you, Ellen, because I know you've read Priory. And for some reason, I love Samantha Shannon books. And I would say her writing's pretty easy to read. Like, it's not written like in a complex way, but for some reason it's really hard for me to remember her terminology and like what she names things. I was like, do you feel the same way?
Yeah, 100%. When I read Priory, which I loved, but I've still not read the prequel, I loved it so much, but I had to do a bit of a tandem of reading it on both my like physical copy but also via audiobook. I feel like having both of them really helped. Almost having someone say her terminology out loud made it sink in a little bit more. So I found that really helpful. But there is literally a glossary. I remember reading Priory in a reading vlog, and then once I uploaded it, people were like, you do realise there's a glossary in that book, but it's at the back. So obviously I wasn't flipping to the back of this book to look for something like that because I don't want to read the ending. So maybe there's glossaries in the back of her other books. I've not read Bone Season, I really want to, but it was literally at the back that whole time, and I was like, oh my god, I could have looked. Yeah. But you don't think to look at the back of a book.
You don't really want to. I was actually like, for some reason I was flipping through this one because I wanted to see like where it ended, and like it looks like the last third of the book is a glossary. I'm like, with the thickness of it. And I'm like,
it's just too much.
Like this book is actually like kind of short. It's just like a lot of glossary at the end.
Just so much glossary.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's fun though. I like it.
That's so exciting though.
What are you reading, Freya?
I'm also continuing a series. I am reading The Heart of Betrayal, which is the second book in the Remnant Chronicles by Mary E. Pearson. So I've been meaning to pick this one up for such a long time. I am really curious about this one because I feel like everyone knows how much I hate love triangles. And a love triangle is a very central theme in this plot. And yeah, I'm going to be very curious to see if I can get kind of like convinced out of it. But I feel like at the moment it's very much just like tempting in a love triangle. It's not like, I don't know, she's not like actually with someone and in love with somebody else. She just has, it's like basically this princess that runs away from her duties and she goes to a distant village, and there she is found by the prince who is meant to marry her, an assassin that's been sent to kill her, but she doesn't know who either of these guys are. So it's like, it's fun, and I feel like it's not your typical kind of love triangle where she's actually like fully in love with one of them, if you know what I mean. So I don't know, maybe it will change my mind. I don't know.
There's just like there's just options. They're just there.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
But yeah, we'll see how that one goes.
I'm intrigued. I read the first book in that series way back when. I've not continued clearly, but I read it probably like 10 years ago whenever it first came out, and I remember liking the first book, but I would have been like 15, so
yeah, it came out like so long ago, and I actually didn't even know it existed. Like, I read The Dance of Thieves, and then people were like, oh, you should have read the Remnant Chronicles first, and I was like, I didn't even know that was a series.
Got told that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. We all missed.
Yeah, we all missed that memo.
Missed the memo.
Oops.
Should we jump into, actually, I don't think I've even said what we're talking about today because I was so excited to have Ellen on, but today we are doing a fun video. We're going to be telling you guys some of our most unpopular bookish opinions, which I feel like it's always a little bit scary to get on the internet and say your unpopular opinions. But we've said it once and we've said it again. If you're going to say it anywhere, this is a really great place to, because our little community is so, they're so heartwarming.
Yeah, I love it. I love to complain. I will yap about anything like this, so I'm more than happy.
So we picked a good topic
today.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about. I always love these, so I never skip a video like this, so I'm very excited. Do we have an order we want to go in? We haven't even chatted about this.
I vote Ellen first because you're our guest of honor.
Same. Yeah.
I'll take that. I have so many listed because I didn't know if I were going to get repeat ones. So I have a big list. I feel like some of them are quite general. And I'll start with one that's not necessarily mean, but I feel like it's a divisive one.
Okay.
So I want to know what your guys' thoughts are as well. But I said I literally could not care less whether it's first or third person. When I'm reading a book, I have literally no preference. I know some people are such sticklers for having one or the other. And starting a book, I remember some of my friends reading like a romance book, and if it's in third person, they're like, I hate this so much. I can't even tell. Most of the time, I'm like, I'm not even clocking that. I do not care.
Yeah. So I know Freya has thoughts on this.
I can see you nodding.
I barely notice it. Like I could go either way. Like it doesn't faze me. If it switches between chapters, that gets a little bit weird sometimes for me. But if it's consistent throughout the book, or even if it switches through series, because I know like for like ACOTAR, for example, since that's like a popular one, how it switched from first person to third person in like
I forgot
the third book or the fourth book, the novella. That was weird. But if you're gonna start a book or a series with like either first or third person and then just stick with it, I'm like, I don't care which one you choose.
Yeah.
I'm fine either way. Freya, let out your thoughts.
Actually, this is kind of like an unpopular opinion in itself, because I feel like everyone really likes first person. I personally love third person past tense. That's like my favorite to read. I don't know why. I think it just, like, sometimes I think when I'm in the mind of a protagonist who's being really, really annoying, it takes me out of the book and I just get really irritated because I'm like, I'm you right now and you're making decisions that I wouldn't make, so this is really annoying me. Whereas if I'm reading like third person, I'm like, oh, I'm just reading the story. Like, you can do whatever you want to do. I don't know, but I also think I always used to just read third person past tense, so I think it's just like a comfort thing.
Yeah,
that's what I think. I think it's like a childhood book thing. Like most younger reading books, I feel like are in third person past tense. So if you're like grew up being used to that, then it just feels like home. I don't know.
Yeah. I will say though, when you mentioned romances, actually I don't feel like it bothers me as much in romances. I think it's just fantasy that it bothers me in. I think as I go into romances,
a lot of people say it's romance, which I can see where they're coming from, because I think a lot of them prefer it to be first person, and third person feels almost like a bird's eye view over it as opposed to being in their minds. But sometimes I prefer that. Like you say, like sometimes it's like if you've got an annoying main character, it's quite nice to be a bit removed and to see it all from like an outside perspective instead. But I guess a lot of people like dual POV, and if you're going to do dual POV, most of the time you're going to do first person, which in romance makes sense. But I really, most of the time I don't even clock. I honestly don't. I'm just reading it. I don't even think about it at all.
That's a good thing though. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That also just reminded me of an unpopular opinion I have. I didn't even put this on my list, but when you said dual POV, I've realized I don't actually like dual POV in a romance because it gives away too much for me. And I know like most people love dual POV, but for me, I want a little sense of mystery with it. And if I know too much of what the love interest is thinking, I'm like, okay, well now it's just too easy. Like it's just too obvious. And I want there to be that like intrigue of like, what were they thinking in this moment? And so I think if it's dual POV, I don't want it to be exactly half and half. I think I've seen it done well where we're mostly in one POV and then we get a few snippets in another POV. And I really like that because then you get like a little bit of it. But when it's so much and you know exactly what's going on in everyone's minds, for me, I'm like, it's too much.
See, I'm total opposite. I love dual POV and I need to know exactly what's going through everyone's mind at every single point in time. Because I literally read another book recently where it was just her POV. We didn't get his. And I was like, this would have been so much better if I would have been able to see into his brain and know what he was thinking. I feel like it was specific to that circumstance as well. But I'm literally the complete opposite.
That's so fun. Yeah, it might really depend on the story and like the reasoning of like what their struggles and why they're not together yet. But
I get your point though. I totally get your point.
Yeah, it's like I just want to not know. It's more exciting.
Yeah, I can see that. Leaves a bit of, I don't know, intrigue to it all. A little bit more interesting.
Okay.
Well,
Freya,
that was
do
a
you
good
have
one to start us off. What a conversation starter. Jamie, do you want to go next?
Ooh, yeah, okay. I'll go next. Okay. I'm a little scared to say this one. I don't think it's fair to give a 1-star rating to a book if you've DNF'd it before 50%. I don't think it's fair. I think you can put a review up and just say you DNF'd it and say like why you DNF'd it. But if you haven't gone past the 50% mark, I'm like, there's so much that happens in the second half of a book that you would not even be able to interpret or understand the first half of the book correctly if you don't get to the second half. So many of your thoughts might not even be valid.
Yeah.
Depending on, like, if you really just didn't like the writing style, like, that's also, like, an opinion-based thing as well. But, yeah, I feel like you need to read at least, like, 60% of a book before you give a star rating if you've DNF'd.
Yeah. Wait, does anyone, like, Ellen, do you DNF often?
I really don't.
Okay.
But if I DNF, even if I were to DNF at like 90%, I don't count it on anything. Like, I don't put it on Goodreads. I don't do a review. That's not from like some moral standpoint. I just don't count it because in my brain I'm like, it's not technically a book read. The only time I ever do it is if I've got like a NetGalley arc or something and I have to put a review in, and then I'll do it. But most of the time, if I'm DNFing, it's like a 2. I won't ever give it like a 1 or something, and I will say DNF at this point. And I usually try and get to around about 50% anyway most of the time. But yeah, no, I don't count them. But I don't DNF very often, if at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Because I know, Jamie doesn't DNF, and I find it really, really hard to DNF. And I'm like, so like when you rate a book that you've DNF'd, I find that just hard to like comprehend in my mind.
Yeah, because
like,
it's almost automatically a 2-star if I'm DNFing it, but then I don't feel the need to put that onto like Goodreads or something. I'm like, okay, done, on to the next. Like, I don't log it. I usually just remove it from my shelves and just don't think about it again.
Yeah, pretty much. And I feel like the only reason I DNF is like if I'm really bored. Like, it's not even that I kind of sometimes if I'm really hating a book, I want to like rage read it to the end to see what the ending is going to be.
Yeah.
Me. Yes.
Yep.
I'm too stubborn to stop. Yeah, because I've seen reviews that are like, DNF'd at 10 pages, here's a 1-star. And I'm like,
I don't get that. I don't get
think
that.
that's fair.
No, just stop.
Yeah.
Just put it aside and just pick something else up. It's not worth it.
Just stop. Yeah. Erase it from your history of the internet. Just like pretend it never happened. Okay, great. Glad you guys agree. Freya, what's yours? Or one
Okay,
first?
this one's pretty broad, but I feel like it's in my comment section all the time. And that's that audiobooks to me count as reading and like count towards your reading goal. Because
100%.
the amount of times I have mentioned something about, oh yeah, I listened to this book and I like was like, yeah, this was one of the like 10 books I read this month. And people are like, that means you didn't read it. And I was like, well, I can relay the information to you. Like, I know what went on. Some people get really, really just like, I don't know, they're like, no, you didn't actually physically read it, so therefore it doesn't count as a book you've read. And that really annoys me because I'm also like, people are in different circumstances. Like, some people are going to find it really easy to read books. Some people it's just going to be in their lifestyle heaps easier to listen to books than read books. And like, that's going to get their reading goals. So yeah, I don't know. It's just it's something that like really angers me. And like every time I see a comment, I have to like take a breath and be like, it's just their opinion. Move on.
See, I'm so lucky I haven't ever gotten comments like that, but I've seen them and I've seen this whole like discourse to it, but I 100% agree with you. I don't see why, for one, I don't see why we're policing reading in the first place. Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
It's your reading, it's your book. If you want to read it that way, who cares? It's your life. But then equally, at what point is it, I don't know, what if you can't physically read a book? What if that isn't possible for you and you need to listen to an audiobook? Why are we policing that? It doesn't matter.
It's so
Again, like you said, if you're listening, you can still go back and tell me what happened. There are so many books that I read via audio, and it really annoys me because my mum says this as well, because both me and my dad listen to audiobooks and she is so against it. She is like, no, it doesn't count, and it aggravates me every time. And I'm like, no, it does, of course it does. And again, why does it matter? I feel like that's like the crux of it all. But I agree with you, Freya. I think it's reading.
Yeah, the biggest thing is, why does it matter? Like, why does someone else's reading count matter to you? Like, if someone listened to 300 books last year, why does it matter to you? Like, it's not affecting you. It's not your reading goal.
No.
It's not, like, if you don't want to log audiobooks, yourself, that's completely fine. Like, there are some audiobook rereads that I did last year that I didn't log, but that was just like a choice that I made. But like I have logged audiobooks like also, so like, yeah, it's like, why does it matter?
Yeah, 100%. That's what I mean. Like, I just don't understand why people get so passionate about it. Like, chill out, let a person live.
Yeah, I don't get why it's got so much discourse around it to begin with, to be honest.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do like immersive reading and stuff. I think immersive reading is so fun. I love doing that when you like listen at the same time as reading. Because sometimes I dip in and out. Like, if I have an audiobook, I'll have it for like, I don't know, if I'm going on a drive or if I'm doing chores or something, and then I dip back into the book when I can actually sit and read it, and then I dip in and out, so...
Yeah, I love doing that. I've been like, that's opened a whole new world to me. I was like, oh my God, I can do both at once. And you get through the book so quickly as well that way.
Yes.
All right, what is your second one, Ellen?
I'm trying to pick one now. I kind of want a juicy one, but I don't want to be too mean. I've got one here. I've been talking about this so often, and it might take me a while to explain it, but in short, I've put spice is not a fix for poor chemistry. Because I have read so many books recently where I feel like spice has been shoehorned in a circumstance where I don't feel that it fits. And I don't know, and I've had this discussion on my channel a few times, I don't know if there's some kind of upwards pressure at the moment from publishing houses or editors or whatever, that people like spice. I read a lot of spice, I enjoy spice, so I'm not against it at all. But I don't know if there's some kind of pressure to include it because now it's such a big thing and people enjoy it and people want it. So I don't know whether people are writing stories that maybe spice doesn't naturally fit into, and then I don't know if they're being told to put it in or if they feel personal pressure to have to put it in. Because I've read a couple of books recently where I'm like, it doesn't work in the circumstances you're in. I feel like there's a certain way for the chemistry to be built before the fact. Or maybe you don't need it. Maybe the chemistry's in the banter and in all that sort of thing and it's not necessary. So I feel like it's a mixture of, I don't feel like it's a fix for bad chemistry. You need the actual chemistry and the banter and the connection there. And then equally, we don't need it everywhere all the time. Like, you can maybe add a little bit at the end, or you can do a closed door, you can do something if you want to do that. But I feel like it's not always needed, and sometimes it feels weird in some books. I feel like sometimes it feels out of place.
Yeah, I think I read Watermoon last year by Samantha Soto-Yambao, and like, that's a cozy fantasy. Like, I wouldn't even call it a romance. It's literally a cozy fantasy, very Studio Ghibli style. And I loved like a lot of the book, but there was one moment where things started to get a little bit spicy, and I wouldn't say it was like a full spice, like open door, whatever moment, but there was a little bit of like, oh, why are we like doing this right now, and like in so much detail. And I was like, it felt so out of the place, especially with the book being a cozy fantasy. I'm like, what? It really took me out. But yeah, I feel like there's just spice being thrown into random books where like it has no place. Like why? Why is this here? So that's a good one. I agree with that one.
I love that one. I feel like that's like a reason sometimes spice doesn't hit for me as well, because it just like comes out of nowhere. Yeah. And I'm like, but whether it's like when it's like built up upon throughout the entire book, then when you finally get it, you're like, oh, finally, like a bit of, I guess like a spice slow burn. I don't know. Yeah,
I feel like it's happening too soon as well. I agree. I think I had this conversation as well. I think especially when we get into romantasy series, I remember reading kind of the classic romantasy series, and you wouldn't have any of that until like book 4 or something. And again, I don't know if it's like this outward pressure. I don't know who is making these decisions, but I feel like it's so normal now to have spice and even like love proclamations in the first book in the series. And then I go, well, now, especially if it's a romance and the romance is the key plot of the books, now I'm disinterested because now you're just like together for the next 7 books that we have in this series and I don't care anymore. So I feel like we need to drag it out, bring back the actual slow burn. I read a romance a couple of days ago that had slow burn in all of the like, I don't know, promo for it. And I was like, they were making out at like 30%. I was like, this is not slow burn. I need actual real slow burn being brought back, especially if you're marketing it as a slow burn. But especially in romantasy books.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like Direbound actually didn't do an awful job with the romance line and like the slow burn. Like when I was reading that, I did like kind of guess what was happening there, but I really appreciated the fact that like it was just kind of a background thing and like she kept thinking about it, and like there wasn't heaps of spicy, like you weren't like, and even though she was in an already established relationship, like we didn't have that spicy scenes like straight away. So I actually appreciated it for that reason.
I remember reading Direbound and thinking literally the exact same thing. So I was flying through it and then I was like, wait, there was meant to be romance in this and there kind of wasn't, but that kind of worked for this story. Like it was good.
Yeah, there was something that they did well.
Sorry.
Oh,
I got ahead of myself.
Yeah, you're getting too excited for my unpopular opinion.
I am though. I'm like,
my next one, I feel like this one isn't like that spicy or saucy, but it's just like more of a reverse of like a popular opinion. So like, you know how everyone says like, oh, I wish I could experience that book for the first time. And like, I definitely say it too. I have come to the realization that rereads are better than first reads. Because
Really?
I've been doing some rereads lately, and I think especially in series, like if you've finished a series and go back to the beginning and then see things grow and see how things have been plotted, it's even better because you can read more into it, and it's actually a better experience the second time you read it in a different way, but I love it.
I was about to disagree with you so hard, and then when you said series, I was like, wait, she actually makes a really good point, because I agree with that part 100%. There's been a couple of like series that I've gone back and reread, and when you can see all the breadcrumbs that you didn't notice first time round, I totally get that. I like that.
Yeah, you just pick up so much more, because the first read you might, you'll just miss things, or you'll be like, why did that happen? That's kind of weird. But then when you go back and then you understand it, it's like, oh yeah, this was well done. This was very good. And I think someone commented this on one of my videos, but some author said that like every single good book should be like good as a reread. So if the like the better the book, the better it is in the reread. And I'm like, you know what? I can get behind that. I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
do you reckon it depends on genres? Like, have you done like any romance rereads or anything? Or contemporary fiction?
That's a good question. I have been wanting to do some Emily Henry rereads to see if those live up. I haven't yet, but I would be curious to see how those live up on the reread.
I'm actually kind of like, sometimes I get scared to go back and reread books that I read like 3-4 years ago and rated a 5 stars. And then I'm like, oh, what if like they don't hit the same? And like, I kind of get scared that it's going to like, just, I don't know, my judgment's going to change.
I agree. I feel like I have so many that I look back on and I go, I would not rate that the same right now, but I don't want to reread it to find out. I'm just going to leave it. Ignorance is bliss. I can just leave that. It's fine. Yeah, it's a 5-star.
Yeah. Some books you don't need to revisit. They'll just stay in your heart forever. Keep them there. Who's next? Freya?
Okay, I know this one is a little bit controversial. I love a cracked spine, well-loved, battered kind of book. Jamie's like, we're both like crying.
Why don't you just break our hearts?
I'm not gonna like go out there to physically destroy my books. Like, I'm not gonna spill tea, like anything like that. I'm not
You're
gonna
purposefully just like
But when I'm reading a book, like, okay, for example, all of my Brandon Sanderson books, they are like the smallest, thickest, actually, Jamie's are even smaller and she somehow doesn't crack the spine. Don't even ask me how. But
it's possible.
I can't. I'm just like, I'm like, no, I'm going to try not to crack the spine this time. Like, I'm really going to try. I get to the 200 page mark and I'm like, I can't. And I just go like, and it's so satisfying. I'm like, now I've read it. Like, now I've really read it. And then like on my shelf, you can see what books I've like really enjoyed, really loved. And I feel like as well, a lot of my, again, childhood books, I used to just take with me everywhere. So they're like so battered up and like from being in like school bags and everything like that. And so again, I think it's like a nostalgic thing. Like my 6 of Crows copy is, it's not okay, but I kind of love it.
See, I love that. The thing is, I don't even know where my hatred for doing that to my own books came from, because I realistically don't really care. But I feel like it's because I've got this streak of not doing it that I'm like, I'm too stubborn to now begin doing it. So I'm like, I'm just going to keep them pristine. But I'm one of those people that does not care. Even though I was like, oh, I'm heartbroken, I do not care what people do to their books. Like, if you are like bending them and tabbing them and annotating, like, it has literally no impact on me. And I think it looks really nice if you can look at someone's bookshelf, like you said, and you can see the well-loved books, especially nostalgic ones like childhood ones. I have a copy of Call Me By Your Name that I took with me when I went to Italy, and it's like so bent up. It was like in my bag with me all the time, and I look at that and I'm like, that's so nice. It's almost like a little time capsule. But I don't tend to do it to many of my books, and I don't know why. It's not even like a presentation thing. It's just, I feel like I've done it for so many years, like I've not broken the spine, that I'm now sticking with that streak and I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah, fair enough. And I feel like if somebody,
Yeah.
if I was to like lend my book to somebody and then they broke the spine, that's not okay. But if
that's
I'm
rude.
doing it, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm the same way. Like, I won't look at someone else's cracked spine book and be offended by it, but I just don't do it to my own.
No.
Yeah, I just find
fine.
it's so funny, like with like the little mass paperbacks. Like I don't know how you can't. I don't understand.
I'm literally like
I will
reading. Like, I think
say-
I've got a photo of me like reading like that to try and like not cry.
Yeah. Like, Ellen, I'm really, like, I'm impressed by you because, like, I feel like the UK and Australia paperbacks are a lot stiffer than the
Yeah.
ones here.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
even
yeah,
with
you
a
can
thick
barely
book
open
here,
them.
they'll tend to be more floppy. So it's easier to handle it over
Like
here,
my
but I don't
Six
know
of
how you do
Crows,
it.
like it's like this. You have
Yeah,
to read
I-
like that.
That's what I mean. That's why
Like,
mine's all
just twisting it
broken.
around. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not surprised to be fair. I'm really not. My Crooked Kingdom one is a little bit broken on the spine. To be fair, that's a bit of a funky one.
Ooh.
Jamie's
no.
like, I don't judge. Oh,
I just won't show you. Just don't look in that corner.
Yeah. We'll crop that off the screen. Okay. Oh, Ellen, what's your next one?
This I don't know if this one counts as controversial or not. I feel like you guys will probably agree with me, but I've done. We need to stop with the 7-book series. Bring back duologies and trilogies. I say this specifically for maybe more romantic stuff. I get it with epic fantasies when you've got so much to work with, but my issue is with, and not to be rude, but series where it doesn't warrant that much space. Does that make sense? So like
Yeah.
I'm reading a book
Yeah.
where I feel like, you know, this world, even though it's rich, even though we have things going on, there's not enough to warrant 7 books, and yet we're still doing 7 books, which I'm partially like, get your bag to the authors. I want them to make their money, and good for them. If you have interest in people, you know, wanting to buy these books, great, why wouldn't you? But equally, I'm like, I used to love, back in the day, a little trilogy. I feel like everything was a trilogy back in the day, and they were like 300, 400 pages, and it was gorgeous, and it all worked, and it was all cohesive within that space. But I feel like now, especially when you get like baited by it, I feel like I've had quite a few recently where I read the first like 3 books, and then for whatever reason suddenly I look in on like some kind of announcement and it's like, it's now 7 books, and I'm like, that's not what I signed up for.
that is like literally was my next one as well. I like the exact same thing. Like if it's a trilogy, it's not a trilogy.
I'm glad you agree then.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the same thing, like, I've been a little bit catfished, like, recently with duologies becoming trilogies, and I'm always like, oh, there's only one more book, it's gonna be great, and then by the time I get to the end of that book, I'm like, ooh, wait, we're not done yet, is there another book? And then I get surprised, and it's like, no, like, this was originally supposed to be a duology, but now it's a trilogy, so that's also annoying.
I also don't love when it's like a trilogy. I say this when I just read Thrudge or Threads of Power, but sometimes, like, it works sometimes, but sometimes when you read, like, you have an original trilogy and then you create all these other series as like spin-offs and like just for the sake of continuing the
Yeah.
series, it makes sense if you've got like some really prominent characters that we do want to follow. But if you have just like, oh, suddenly I'm going to make this character that you saw for like 5 seconds in the 3rd book a main character of their next this next series, like that sometimes to me feels, I'm like, oh, did we need that?
Yeah, they have to be a really cool character to warrant it, like, unless it's a character
Yeah.
that everyone's been like, ooh, we need to know more about this side of this character, then I love that. But yeah, a lot of the times it's just like, why are we doing more of this? Let's do something else.
Yeah, I'd rather something fresh and new and interesting as opposed to like rehashing the same thing over and over. It's like the I don't know if you guys have read the Bridge Kingdom series. It's probably not the same, but like it's almost in duologies. And the first little duology is kind of like the original story, and then the second duology is literally rehashing the exact same thing but from a different point of view. And I was like, I'm bored. Like I've read this already. I don't need another point of view if we're not furthering the story. If you did it after the fact, maybe. But yeah, it annoys me when they do that.
Yeah, I actually have been really confused by that series for that reason, because I was like, which one do I... What?
Yeah, I've been putting it off for so long because I don't get it, but it's like 3 sets of duologies and they're all from like different points of view but the same thing. And so I tried to read like the second duology within the world, and I was like, I don't care. Like, I'm sorry, I don't care. Like, I know what the like outcome is here. I don't need to read this again.
Yeah. No, it's so fair.
I feel like that's like a common thing that's happening. I feel like the format of like a longer series, but it's actually a bunch of duologies put together. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, didn't Emmy say Metal Slinger's going to be like that? Like,
Is
Light
it?
Ruler's going to
I
finish
think
the first one.
Interesting.
Which That's
Yeah.
interesting because like she's thought out like written the first book and thought about the entire rest of the series. So it'll be interesting to see that, whether it's like writing a duology and being like, oh, actually, I want to write more. Like, I feel like there's a difference when
like
they're
taking on.
completely planned out from the beginning as to just, oh, like people want to read more about this world. I'll just create more in this world. And sometimes it feels a bit rushed and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Jamie.
Am I next? Okay. Okay, this one, I've phrased it to be more of a me thing, but just because I'm scared. But I don't absorb anything if I listen to an audiobook over 1.6 speed. And I think it applies to most people. I'll just say that.
Interesting.
It might also be just because like I'm also newer to audiobooks, so it could just be my experience, but I feel like I need the time. And like I'm a pretty quick like physical reader. As well. I actually read physically quicker than I listen to an audiobook like on whatever speed. So it's not like I'm like you can't process the information in that amount of time, but I feel like with audiobooks there's also like you don't even hear the full word when you're listening to it over a certain speed. So it's like how are you even like how is your brain processing like finishing the word and then like dealing with the robot voice and then also like absorbing and thinking about what you're hearing?
I'm so 50-50 with that. I get it, but I am one of those annoying people that listens at such a high speed. My standard, if I'm just listening, is 2.5. Easy.
What?
If I'm reading with my eyes, it's 3.5. So, and I can, it depends on the book. It massively depends on the book, and it depends on the narrator a lot of the time as well, and like how their, I don't know, their cadence is and how they're pronouncing stuff. So if I was listening like prior of the Orange Tree, I think I maxed out on like 2. I could not go beyond that because I was really having to like pay attention and listen. But like some romance books, I can do it so fast. Yeah. Like I was listening yesterday at like, I think 2.7 or something is a nice spot for me. But that's probably me just being weird.
That's, I mean, I was waiting for like 2, but 2 points. Wow, okay.
We're going 2.7 here.
Yeah, but I feel like I can compute it. I feel like, but I don't know if it's because I've gotten myself there, like through listening. Maybe have I gone up slowly in like increments? I don't know. And usually I will start it on 2 and like gauge what I feel like. And like there are some books, like I used to re-listen to the Harry Potter audiobooks all the time when I was younger, and I can do that at like 1,000,000 speed because I know it all. But like if I'm listening to a new fantasy, especially first in a series where I'm really needing to grasp who's who and what's going on, then yeah, maybe a little bit lower. But I don't think I'm ever in the ones ever.
Wow,
that's crazy.
I can't fathom that. But yeah, it could be like a muscle that you work on, kind of like reading. The more you read, you can kind of like speed up your reading pace. It might be the same thing with audio. But like I can't do it. Like above 1, like if I'm at 1.7, that's like pushing it. I'm like whoa. Like what? But I did try the immersive reading once, and I had to push it up to like 3.5 or something because my eyes were going too fast. So it's like I can read faster, but listening, like I need to slow it down when it's just my ears.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it's like a muscle you train, because when I started, like I very much really got into audiobooks last year, and when I started I was like doing it pretty low, and I feel like now like 2 is my main for a new book, like times 2 speed. And I'm just like, but that's also, I listen to audiobooks in very specific situations where I know that I'm not going to get distracted in if it's a new book. Like just when I go on like walks is pretty much, or when I'm driving, like that's pretty much the only time I listen to audiobooks, or if I'm getting ready in the morning. But yeah, when I started, it was definitely a lot slower. But now, like, I can't. I get really bored and it starts to really irritate me. And I also think, Ellen, you're so right. Depends on the narrator.
Yeah, I've read so many. I think I complained about this in a recent reading vlog, but I've read so many specifically. Maybe this is like an add-on little unpopular opinion, but it probably won't be that unpopular. But so many romance books or romantasy books recently where they have the male narrator have the most gravelly, deep voice ever. Obviously trying to make it be all sensual, and I was like, I can't understand what you're saying, babe. And like the whole point of an audiobook is for me to listen to what you're telling me, and I can't, because you're speaking in like this, and it sounds so fake and put on, and it gives me the ick. Massively gives me the ick. So there are some. I remember reading one of Lauren Asher's books, one of the newer ones, and I think, was it the pink one? I can't remember what the name of that book is, but I was laughing, like I was outwardly laughing, and I was like, I need to put this down. I cannot continue listening to this because I don't know what he's saying. Like even on 1 time speed, I don't know what you're saying. It's bad.
That's so like I know what you're talking about with that exact book, because I had the exact same reaction when I started listening to it. I was like, and even at like ×2 speed, it was still so like deep, and I was like, I can't imagine what you sound like on normal.
No, literally,
Wow.
it was awful, and it feels put on. I'm like, I'm sure there are people out there with deep voices, and that's just how they sound. But it's when it feels overacted as well. I was like, I cannot put myself through this. Let's just not. Let me read with my eyes. I'm not doing it.
I feel like I need to hear this now just to like hear. Like I'm not gonna
Go
read
find
the full
like a
book.
little snippet. Go on like
So
Spotify or
listen.
something. Or go get a little snippet and have a listen, because it was like I actually outwardly laughed. I was like, this is just
That's
not. And I feel like
so
it's if you're
funny.
paying for an audiobook as well, it needs to be whatever the audible equivalent of legible is. Like I need to be able to understand.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. You're reading me the book. So
100%.
Yeah. Okay, question, because now I'm thinking,
Mm-hmm.
have you listened to like the graphic audios, like the ones with more of the sound effects and stuff?
hate them. I can't do it. I
haven't
can't do
yet.
it. It cringes me out. I think I've only
Really?
tried it with like, which one was it? Oh my god, it was Zodiac Academy. That's probably skewed because I hate that book anyway. But I listened to the graphic audio.
yeah,
and I was, especially because I listen at like 2.5 speed. I was like, there are making like sound effects in the background, and people. I was like, it sounds almost comedic. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, if you listen to it that quickly with all the sound effects happening, I'm like, what is that like?
It
like,
literally
3
sounds
times
goofy.
speed.
It sounds so goofy. I couldn't do it. I could not take it seriously. So it's kind of self-imposed, because if I just listened like a normal person, it would probably be fine. But still, it sounds almost like, I don't know if you guys have this. Oh, you must have an equivalent, but in the UK we have Radio 4, which is like one of our radio channels, and a lot of it is like very middle-aged based, and they read like plays and stuff. And my mum always used to listen to this show called The Archers,
Okay.
which is like, I don't even know how you would word it, but it's like the middle-class farmer equivalent of like, I don't know, Hollyoaks or EastEnders or something like that. And so it was like this drama thing, and it literally is like that.
That is so
funny.
I like, oh my gosh, now I'm just thinking of Zodiac Academy with like all the elemental magic in the background.
It sounds crazy. Honestly, it's kind of fun. Like, give it a go. Put it on like 2 times speed, because it will make you giggle, because it made me giggle.
Yeah,
That's so
I will. I
true.
don't think I could. Like, I don't think I could do any of them that have romance in them, or a lot of romance, because I listened to the Red Rising graphic audio as a reread, and that, like, it sounded so cool, because it's all sci-fi, so you hear all kind of, like, the space effects and stuff. I'm like, okay, this is really cool.
That would be cool.
But, and that book's not spicy, like, it's not romance or spicy at all, but there's a little bit, and there was one part where our characters just, like, kissed. Like, it was just a kiss. But the sounds. And I will say that, but I was like, oh no. Or like when they're like, yeah, or even when they're like going in for hugs, and like they do like the rustling of the clothes or whatever. It's like,
It's too much.
like, oh.
It's too much. How do they film that though? They literally have people in there like, now it's time for the hug. Like, I
just like rubbing fabric.
I can't do it.
I don't know.
Oh, I can't hack it. No. Hilarious though, but I
Yeah.
could not hack that. No, not at all.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That's I didn't even think of that. That's like a whole thing, because I was going to do the rereading of like Red Rising, the graphic version. I'm glad I can prepare myself now for all the little noises.
The rustling.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
I mean,
funny.
it's like most of it's cool. Like most of it, because you hear like the whooshing of the spaceships and like,
Yeah.
you know, the clinking of whatever. Yeah, it's cool. But it's in those like little moments that I'm like, oh, we're doing this now.
Okay, so you touched on my last one, Ellen, the like stop at a trilogy for the
I've
trilogy,
ruined
blah
it.
blah. Okay. I don't even know my wording for this one. Romance books don't have to be deep, but romance in fantasy books, aka subplots, have to. Okay, I understand my thinking now. Like, sometimes I feel like this is a recent thing, because sometimes I'm just craving a very basic romance. Like, I read a hockey romance recently, and it hit so well because I hadn't picked up a romance in such a long time. And I was like, I know exactly how this plot is going to play out. And like, you have a little bit of chemistry, that's all I need. I don't really care. Like, just get on with it. But for like a subplot of fantasy, I feel like there has to be a lot of chemistry. I feel like as well, because usually it's not the time and place to be having like a romantic situation
Well,
right now,
yeah.
or like, or they're enemies, like they're not allowed to be involved with each other. Like, so I feel like it has to have a lot of chemistry and connection, like, and emotional aspects to it, where there is in a romance book. If they get on, I'm pretty happy and I'm pretty content with that.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from with that one. I think I get that one, because I feel like if you are intentionally adding something beyond what the actual crux of the book is, it almost needs a good reason to be there. If you're detracting, maybe not even detracting from the story, but like you're adding a little bonus something on, and especially like you say in a lot of fantasy situations, like we don't have the time to be doing all this, so I feel like it needs to be actually important and like well crafted in order to feel like it's placed nicely within a story like that. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even know where that one came from.
No, I like
I like
that
it.
one.
I like
it's
that
also
one.
like, I think like one of my biggest pet peeves like with romances or like romantasy or any sort of romance plot is that like it's when it's just physical first, and I think a lot of us have that issue. But I remember someone commented on one of my videos saying that like that's not really fair, because honestly a lot of like real life romances start physical first, and like a lot of the time you will have these like physical interactions and then you'll grow the emotional side after. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what, you actually have a point.
Yeah.
Like,
See,
that
I
makes
agree.
total sense.
I agree with their point, but I raised them the fact that a lot of these romance books are meant to be a fantasy, right? They're meant to be the epitome of a love story. And maybe, I mean, it depends on the person, but maybe a lot of people would rather have the emotional connection first. I don't know, but maybe it's because they're meant to be this ultimate romance, like you're meant to be able to go, oh, wasn't that so wonderful, it made me so giddy. So maybe if you want a realistic one versus like a fantasy version of a romance story. But I can see both sides, 100%.
That's really
Yeah.
interesting. And I feel like that's also why I'm not as like picky towards romances. Like I'm kind of just like, oh yeah, I see where this is going, or oh yeah, you don't have like that much connection, but
Yeah.
whatever. But I feel like in fantasy situations, none of that is real. So therefore the romance has to not really be real, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it has to be some really good romance.
Yeah.
Like nothing's realistic here. Like everything is like exaggerated, so the romance also has to be like extra.
Yeah.
Oh, Ellen, what's your next?
Oh, this one I feel like has been rinsed and repeated a few times, but I feel like it's going to be a fun conversation. I said, we're in an epidemic of enemies to lovers that are just mild dislike to love. Give me wars. That's what I said. I want, like, especially again in a romantasy setting, I feel like you can't do enemies to lovers within a standard romance. Maybe dislike to love, but you can't do, like, who's your enemy? In like a contemporary setting, it's not really possible.
Yeah.
But in a romantasy book, if you're enemies to lovers, I don't want you to be like, oh, he's just a bit annoying. Like, oh, he's so irritating. Like, that's not enemies to lovers. I want you to be on, like, opposite sides of a war. Or, like, I want you to be, like, assassins set to kill each other. Like, that's the vibe that I want. And I feel like we're in an epidemic of everything being marketed as enemies to lovers. I'm like, you just kind of don't dislike him. You think he's fit, but you kind of dislike him, and that's about it. I'm like, I need more than that.
And I feel like that's totally fine, you're right, when they're just like, that's their trope. But when they're marketed as enemies to lovers, you want enemies to lovers. Like, but if it's just like grumpy sunshine vibes, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. You can tell me, just be upfront with me when you're marketing your book as to what it actually is, because I feel like you're setting yourself up for failure if you say that it's enemies to lovers when it's really not. It's like that book that I just read. I feel like I'm rinsing this book that I just read, but I read a romance book recently, and it was an arc, so it had just like the tropes on the back of it, and it said slow burn, grumpy such. I was like, there's none of these things, but they're such buzzwords right now that I get why you would want to market it that way, but you're setting yourself up for failure if you tell me that it's that and it's very much not, because then I'm going to use that as a valid criticism of your book if you're telling me it's one thing and it's not. Whereas if you just said, yeah, they snog at like 30%, I'd be like, great, fine. That's fine. Do you know what I mean?
No, I 100% agree with that. That is a very good point.
Yeah, it's just like even the noticing of like the physical, like if they're your real enemy, you're going to notice that they're attractive. Like you're not going to notice their chiseled jaw. If you're true enemies, like you're not going to see that. You're going to see them and just be scared, you know, like you're not going to take a second to be like, ooh, but look at those shoulders. Like, no.
I love it. Exactly
so
though,
true.
literally.
Okay, so my next one is trigger warnings can spoil a book. And I think this is like I read a lot of like traumatic books too. Like those are the types of books I read. And I'm like, if you know all of the trauma or all of the triggers that are going to be in this book, like you're kind of spoiling what you're about to experience going into it. And I feel like trigger warnings can be helpful, especially if you know you have certain triggers. I wish there was something like that you could like put your triggers that you know of into like a database and then be like, okay, avoid these books. But if you're gonna like look up trigger warnings and see all of them that exist in that book, I'm like, you basically know everything that all of our characters are going through now, and like I feel like that would take away from the like overall experience of it. So I don't love trigger warnings, especially when they're printed in the book and they're just kind of forced on you and you're like flipping through it and it's like, this book like has this and this and this. I'm like, oh, well, now I know the story.
That's so true. And I feel like it's very interesting because I feel like when I only take, I don't know if this is just a personal thing, but I only take trigger warnings seriously when I open like a dark fantasy book or like a dark romance book. That's when I want to know the trigger warnings just because of past experiences. But like when I'm opening a contemporary fiction book, I feel like that's just more me specific because there's nothing that I actively want to avoid reading about. And like there will definitely be things that really hurt to read about, but I also think usually in like a contemporary fiction, they're pretty relevant and like they need to be talked about and they need to be explored. So I feel like I'm kind of the same. I try and avoid trigger warnings for non-spicy books, but when there's a spicy book and then when it's like there's some crazy trigger warnings at the beginning. Like I don't know if either of you have read Fairy Tale, I think it's called.
No, but I've heard crazy things.
I was like, I saw it at the bookstore and I was like, oh, a fantasy book. And then I opened up the first page and it was like trigger warnings. And I was like, oh, I should probably read these. And it was like a paragraph of the most intense trigger warnings I have read. And I was just like, okay, so glad I didn't pick this one up. But like in that situation, I was glad I read the trigger warnings.
Yeah, because then you know. See, I feel like I'm almost a mixture. I don't ever read trigger warnings because luckily for me, I don't have anything necessarily that I would avoid a book for. There are some things that I don't like in books, but not something that would actively actually trigger me, so I don't really tend to look at them all that often. But I can see why. I think is it Bryn Weaver? I'm pretty sure it's Bryn Weaver. I don't know if you've read any of the like Butcher and Blackburn and stuff, where she lists them. And I think that it's funny because the way that she lists them is almost a comedic thing. Like she kind of throws things in there that aren't necessarily actual triggers, but she's just like, oh, in this scene they might eat an eyeball or something, which is like, yeah, it's gross, but it's like the way that she puts it is like funny. And I'm half and half on that because I'm like, yeah, you've entertained me with that, but equally now I know all the scenes, like I know that that's coming up. So I feel like if you're going to do trigger warnings, and again, I'm not the be all and end all of this, but I feel like the more specific they are, or the more concise maybe is a better word that they are, is probably better rather than having so many things. But then maybe I'm just lucky because I don't have anything that really triggers me, so I can get away with not needing to know everything. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see why they're important, and I can see why they're good for readers, but it's like, if there was somewhere else you could look for them, or
I like the idea of like the database. You can just like search up almost each one has little tags on it, and you can be like, okay, this has this in it, therefore I will steer clear. I feel like that's why it's quite nice, and I don't know if you guys have experienced this too, but almost having this platform when I speak about books that I'm interested in, some people know, like for example, I don't like to read things that have like health issues in. I just would rather not. And I have a lot of books that I've like spoken about and people have gone, oh, by the way, Ellen, they've either messaged or they've commented and said, oh, it has this in it, and I'm like, great, thanks, because sometimes they don't have trigger warnings for that sort of thing. So I don't know whether you guys get that too, but that's usually helpful. I like when people do that.
Literally just the other day that happened and I was so grateful for them because like clearly like I hate any kind of like gore or like animal cruelty. Like I absolutely cannot deal with animal cruelty. And when like I was talking about, I think it was Wild Dark Shore or something, and literally like in my TBR video, and one of my followers commented and they were like, hey Freya, just know that you're not comfortable with this. It does have a little bit of animal cruelty going on in that. And I was like, thank you so much, because I genuinely have seen nothing about that. And like I don't think it'll stop me from reading it. But going in prepared for that, like, and knowing that I can just skim that little passage or something is really, really helpful.
Yeah.
It was probably
I really appreciate
Broken
it
Country.
when people do that.
Oh, maybe it was Broken Country. Yeah.
Because there's a dog. But that's in, like, the synopsis. Like, it's in the...
Yeah.
It's on the back.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I remember watching a vlog, reading that, like, seeing that, actually.
Yeah. It wasn't so bad. Just because of the way it was written, it wasn't so, like, detailed. It was just like, okay, that happened. We'll move on, kind of a thing. Because I was expecting, like, the worst. And then when I read it, I was like, oh, this sucks, but like it's okay. Like I can move on from this.
That's kind of good though. Thing. Like that you were expecting so bad. Yeah. again, good.
Yeah,
good
yeah.
big ones. All right, my last one is kid characters, like children characters in books, are rarely written well and are rarely written accurately. Because
Okay.
when there is a like 9-year-old kid who's talking like he's 18,
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't, you're not a real character to me. I'm sorry.
Okay, Wild Dark Shore, because I know you want to jump into that one soon. Yeah, this is in that.
Okay, good to know.
Just be ready. Just be ready for it. There are things that this kid says that I'm like, no kid would use that word. Like, they just wouldn't.
Yeah, I've read so many books. I feel like it's so rife in like romance books where almost, I don't know, if you have like a single dad romance and they've got like a 5-year-old and this 5-year-old is the one that's like figuring out that their dad's actually in love with her and like, you should go and do this and go get the girl kind of thing. I'm like, you're 5. You're 5. You don't have a clue what's going on in the world right now. You have no idea. So yeah, totally. It pulls me out. I remember reading one of Elsie Silver's books, I think.
Yes.
Was it the first one? It was Wild Love? ? Maybe it was one of them.
I think so.
And I was like, this is just the least realistic thing ever. And it's more so like, do you know any children in your real life? Like, that's just not how they would act. And they don't need to be involved in this bit. Just have someone else be the driving force behind, you know, someone professing their love or whatever. Like, a child is not picking up on that. And it just makes it feel so fake. So I agree.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not alone in that one.
No, that's a bit. I think like Lucy Score did that too. I've only read like the things we something.
Yeah.
One of
Yeah,
those.
I
lot of
know the one.
words. There was a kid I remember there's a kid in that one and I was like, why are you doing so much? Like, you're a kid. Just be a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. And like, yeah, when they have like very insightful conversations with the love interest, I'm like, love this for you, but
Yeah, that's just not how
This
it works
level of
in the real
bonding
life.
is not happening.
yeah.
Okay, I think that brings us to the end of our episode. Thanks for sharing your unpopular opinion, hot takes with us. Thanks for coming on the show with us.
That's okay. I had a great time. I love complaining. It's one of my favourite things. So these like hot take things are like my absolute bread and butter. I love it.
Thank you so much for being here.
Great.
It was so fun.
If we want to
Thanks for
complain
having
again,
me.
we'll send you a
Yes,
message.
always. Hit me up.
hop
I
on.
love a little voice note. Send me whatever. I will listen and I will complain back.
So for everyone just here listening to the end, thanks for listening wherever you are in the world or whatever time zone you're in.
Until next time, stay comfy and keep reading.
Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on socials for more bookish content.
Bye. See you next time.